We don't get an intro for Boruto?
Wait, we need a recap.
Do we need an intro?
Recap. Bermuda Triangle is a
Recap.
thing. It's
That's-
not a coincidence.
Go black and white.
Bigfoot and the Yeti exist.
Wait a minute, Steven. Yeah.
Within the last
Just
100
pull
years.
from the footage of the last episode and put it in black and
That's
white.
a lot of editing.
Oh.
He can do it.
Oh
I have faith.
my gosh.
Roll the intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Subject Matter. I'm your host, Stephen Jenkins, here with your co-host, Mr. Jonathan Dayton, and special guests returning from previous episodes, as we said in part 1, Mr. Aiden Sensabaugh from our second episode, Mr. Jacob Wilson from our 5th, and Mr. Trevor McCabe from our 9th. We are experts in absolutely nothing here to give you our thoughts and opinions on all of it. We have kicked out our studio audience because we couldn't film with them in here, and
Segregation.
we love them, and I'm not joking about that. We just had to be able to film properly. So, the next topic we're going to cover first is Jacob had some points on mythical creatures like dragons and things like that. So we're going to have this a shorter topic, and then we're going to move into subliminal messaging next. So go ahead.
Okay. Again, we're keeping this one short. So starting with the top, like Chupacabra and all we got
Cryptids like that.
Yeah, and
In a similar vein as Bigfoot in the
Yeah. Like Loch Ness
Similar.
Monster.
all these there is a certain element of them that
Tasmanian
they're
devil.
they're just stories.
The wild
used-
one, not the real one.
Yeah, the wild one.
Oh, it's
Not the real
the wild one, not the cartoon.
Got you.
No, there's actually a Tasmanian devil. It's a
There-
really boring animal, actually. They're kind of cute, but they're
Yeah.
rather boring compared to, like, the Tasmanian devil in the Looney Tunes. Just saying.
I was
He's
very sad as a child when I realized that real
Yeah.
Tasmanian devils couldn't make a tornado with it.
Right. They're
Yeah.
boring. They're just...
they
They
didn't
don't
stick out
do
the tongue
anything.
a lot.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Go
Continue.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just love how passionate you are about that. I wasn't expecting that. No, but there is a good amount of
I
mythical.
love the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I got you. There's a large amount of mythical creatures and monsters that are just used to scare children. Let's be honest,
Right.
and to make them do things that the parents don't want them to do.
Learn your rules. Better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep.
I
Continue
agree.
your thoughts.
I agree.
So we're just gonna like leave that as like if we want to come back to just stories one day, that's another episode. So then we come back to unicorns. You were telling me there's a horse with a giant horn.
It's such a simple concept that I find it hard to believe that, like, 1,000 years ago, there was a horse that was born with that and just kind of like, I mean...
It's a unihorn.
Right, and then they were just
that's
like,
a rhinoceros.
what if it was
unicorn?
pink and it rode on the rainbows?
Well,
But-
I mean, have you ever been to a rainbow? Have you ever been inside one? You can't say they're not unicorns.
I've tasted the rainbow.
Okay, then.
No, I didn't
Jonathan
know.
has
That's
something
not
to
the way
say.
you guessed it.
Jonathan-
No,
Nope, we're
back
not going there. So Jonathan has something to
I
say.
wasn't gonna say anything important besides the name unicorn is out there, and the fact that they can fly and jump on rainbows
Skittles.
is also out there. However, a mutation where one singular
Yep.
horn grows from the head, totally valid.
That's
Yep, totally possible.
That's as far as I'm gonna go.
the likelihood of that being similar to the origin of a unicorn and the legend of that then taking off. And I agree, lots of things have kind of based in reality,
Yes.
but have been twisted and turned into folk
Right,
legends
yes.
and all this stuff to scare children, teach lessons, stuff
That's a
like
good
that.
segue.
In a
I was gonna say,
1,000
I
years...
was a segue.
Okay, but in 1,000 years... Well, I know that is a good segue, but I'm going to derail the segue. But in 1,000
Segue
years...
off.
It's
I'll
quite
be-
possible in 1,000 years that, or well, maybe more than 1,000 years, but like the stories we have today, like superheroes and things like that, it's possible that centuries from now, they'll think that we thought they were real, if that makes sense.
That is
very
like,
true.
Yeah.
like
True.
like you think it's possible that the stories of like, the Norse gods or the Greek gods or things like that, obviously there's a religion around that, but things like that, that thought that legitimately they were just stories and like that was their superheroes of the day and they didn't have any worship
True,
to them
true.
whatsoever, and that is possible. But anyway, continue.
Oh wait. Well, do you see what that is? Wait, all the way over there. Yeah, wait, it's coming back around. It's a mall cop. He's riding a Segway. Oh, look, the Segway's back. Sweet.
Paul Blart.
Paul Blart is
Mark
riding a
off Evan
Segway.
James on the podcast. Good.
Release the Blart.
Okay.
So here we go. So the segue, you're saying to the mythical creatures and stuff that could have been twisted in what actually exists, dragons. So all that's leading to dragons. I wholeheartedly
Not the
believe
segue I thought we were going to.
No.
Me neither.
Paul Blart, keeping you guessing. So I would wholeheartedly believe dragons existed. Wholeheartedly. Now, are they the dragons from our stories? To some extent.
Did they
Somewhat.
like gold?
let's leave the hoarding and that type of stuff. That's one of the twisted things. Let's start with the basics. Giant lizards. Okay, we have dinosaurs.
I was gonna
for
say
crying out loud.
dinosaurs, kind of
So-
the same.
Yep.
Like
Wings,
archaeologists.
dinosaurs.
Wings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Possible.
Workable wings?
Pterodactyls had wings.
I was
It's
gonna say,
possible
but,
that
like-
other creatures
But
had
workable
wings.
wings to a lizard
I
that size?
think
Probably not.
Maybe there was different species, to be totally honest.
Right.
Because
There could
Chinese
have been.
depicts them
I was gonna say there are a
with
lot of different.
tiny wings that I would guess wouldn't work, and that more as creatures that like kind of crawl.
Is it Greek that have the? It's the ones that don't have wings.
England is the ones that has
England.
wings.
Is it?
Does it England have wings?
Yeah.
Maybe,
There's,
probably.
it's
The
the
longest
ones,
monster
ones
kingdom
that
has
don't
wings.
have wings. That are like
Indonesia?
giant. They're like a giant. It's like a dragon.
If we wanted
But
to
it just
research,
doesn't
we
have
could
the
figure
wings.
this
Almost
out. but we're
all of
keeping-
them
yeah,
though
yeah,
breathe
baseline.
fire. Throughout all of the dragon theories, all of them breathe fire.
So that's what my last point I want to talk to touch on. Breathing fire. First off, was it literal flames?
Or was it
Probably
just a
not
lot of heat
combustible.
expelled.
Well, we do have creatures like the scald beetle. I forget what it's actually called. So that out of their butt, they can shoot. They can shoot two chemicals that mix and form a chemical reaction that's literally boiling to the touch. So that's their
Uh-huh.
defensive mechanism. So could a dragon have that defense mechanism with two glands that shoot literal boiling fluid, which people over time twisted the story into fire because it was like
Could
fire.
give off steam.
Could give off steam, so they see
to
it
burn
breathing.
things. Exactly.
True.
Is it really
True.
fire? No, but it's
True.
a burning liquid. So
What's
So-
more entertaining in a movie? Fire.
fire.
I mean,
Exactly.
Michael Bay, great example of that.
Look, the dragon's spitting on people and it hurts. Okay, now he's breathing a flamethrower out of his freaking mouth.
and
Yes.
the
Incinerating.
girl is
Aye.
screaming loud, and then we have to have Mark Wahlberg come in with the big giant CGI robot and blow stuff up.
So that's my dragons.
Okay, so we're
I
going to
really went
vote
on a Michael
on
Bay
whether or
spiel.
not dragons existed.
Just dragons first.
I mean, that's all I'm.
All unanimous dragons.
Yeah, dragons.
I mean, dragons
it's
existed.
100% possible.
Dragons existed. Okay.
Same vein as Bigfoot from last
All right.
episode.
That sends a good message to the kids. You know what may not send a good message to the kids?
What is it?
Subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging.
So to sum up, the
By
idea
your
of subliminal messaging is basically you're watching a show or a news broadcast, and suddenly you're like, I want to go out and I want to buy this thing, and you're
I'm sure
wondering
you have a
why
good
is that the
argument on this,
case?
right, Jonathan?
And I'm feeling like Jonathan's going to want to comment on this one, but apparently he doesn't because he's
Well,
looking
I
at me.
can.
But anyway,
I mean,
so
you work in marketing somewhat.
I do. But anyway, so the idea.
okay.
I was trying to cut you off.
He
I was
does.
trying to finish my
He's like,
thoughts.
Go ahead.
But the idea is that basically you're watching a show and there's secret messages put in there like, oh, you look in the back and suddenly they have a brand new TV that they didn't have the previous episode, and your subconscious is like, that means I'm going to go buy a new TV. Coincidentally, I bought a giant TV back in November, as we told on the previous episode. A previous
So you're saying it
episode.
works.
So maybe it worked. Maybe I
It absolutely
had no
does
intention
work.
of going
It's
to buy
absolutely
that.
It
real.
does. It does work.
And
I gotta say,
it quite possibly does. Well, in that case, let's go to Trevor.
Trevor first.
I'm thinking my brain when you say subliminal messaging goes to fast food. It's the one of the biggest.
Yeah.
When you see the Big Mac on a screen, and
Yep.
we know we talked about McDonald's but when you see it and it's not the reality. It's not the reality of what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But you see it, it's nice and it's what you want.
It's very full.
It puts that thought in your brain of, maybe I should go and grab. You see the Blizzard that's all nice and they're spinning it around and doing fast motion with it. Your brain, maybe I should go get a Blizzard. I just saw it. Maybe they're like, okay, this is what you want. It's so beautiful, it's so good. So I think definitely in that way it's used
And I think in terms,
in a large percentage.
right? I think in terms of advertisement, I'm not completely against it in that particular context.
You're thinking more hidden.
It depends on what context it's in. Because if you're trying to go to buy a cheeseburger, I was probably gonna do that anyway.
Right.
But if you're trying to get me to vote a certain way or try to get me to act a certain, change my stance on something through some sort of subliminal messaging that I don't realize is there, that's different. If I'm watching a video that I know is set to a specific political spectrum that I choose to watch for that reason, okay, that's fine. But if you're trying to secretly change what I'm doing, I don't.
That's all
I
of the
don't like
media
that.
now.
And that's
Well, that's yeah.
Go ahead, John.
So funny thing, I do work in marketing. However, I never went to school for marketing. So none of my classes in college were based on marketing and advertising. However, I see both sides here. Trevor's more of the presentation of the advertisement, which is something I do every day. Film things to make them look more appetizing and appealing to the audience
Intriguing.
than what it really is. Using for pancakes, this is just random. I watched a video on this the other day. Like pancakes, it's motor oil and not
Yep.
syrup
That's disgusting.
and things of that nature. So that when you film it, it looks better than what it really is. That's the stuff that I do on a daily basis. However, hiding specific messages in things when I put out films and commercials, I don't do that personally.
You're not a big corporation either.
True. I
Or
don't
you're not
I also-
donating to a certain political party.
True. I also don't have resources to do hidden messages.
Correct.
Nor do I have the time to want to study which ones would be more important. to
Nor do you
put
have
in
the
there.
need to.
And nor do I. Yes, that's most important. Nor did I have the need to do that. So, but I have. But I have watched documentaries before where people like they sing jingles and songs of things, and within those songs there's words of other products.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that work? I don't know, because how would you really necessarily know? I mean,
True.
You mean unless they told you what they were doing, you really don't know. And how do you know if it worked on you?
Well, can I take it from here?
Yeah.
So, literature.
I'll wrap up.
All right. So, think about literature and how. What's a good example of a book?
1984.
I don't know that book. But most of your books have like.
We're talking about all this and you haven't read 1984?
Huh?
Nothing.
David
Go
Orwell.
ahead.
Oh.
Animal Farm?
I've read Animal Farm.
There you go.
Okay.
Good enough.
So, that actually.
Close enough.
I want to go to communism actually. So I'm going to hit on a play. What's it called? The Crucible.
Crucible.
All right.
Okay.
So, and the undertone of that book is actually about communism and McCarthyism and all that, but you wouldn't get that anywhere from just watching the movie of the play or watching the play or reading the book, reading the play. So that is how I interpret subliminal messaging, is that it's underlying themes or tones or ideas. And I think subliminal messaging doesn't necessarily target, I take that back. It targets both the weak-minded and the intelligent-minded, as the weak-minded will just kind of go with the flow of it.
Follow blindly.
Yeah, follow blindly, and the intelligent-minded will interpret it and then pick it up, and possibly they'll either know, I don't believe in that, or I don't side with that, and say, it's wrong, I see your messaging and I don't like it, or they'll see the messaging and they'll end up going with it because they're weak-minded in decision-making. So
Just a quick thing. So the subliminal messaging is hard to prove that it actually worked to yourself. Unless you're watching something and company flat out tells you that, hey, we did this and this, and you go back and you look and see people to watch a commercial when you did this and you found out they actually bought this product. But on yourself, it's hard to really interpret if it actually worked on you. But
it's acting more of on a subconscious level.
This whole podcast in general, this topic, and this subliminal messaging in general, makes you think, though. And I think just making someone think about their stance on something and then having, am I actually right, changes the question. Now, one topic that we're not going to bring up tonight, and it's a heated topic, would be like evolution. However, I'm pretty sure we think one direction. However, it makes you, once you
Wait,
see
what did you say?
Evolution.
Evolution, okay.
When you read books or you watch documentaries and you watch in your own science class, it prompts you.
Right.
It makes you think.
Right.
It makes you think, which is what I think subliminal messaging sometimes does. Maybe it's not influence you to do something entirely,
It's
but
there
it
to
makes
make you think, to
makes you
question
think.
yourself.
And
And
whether
then
that thinking leads to doing an action, maybe, or whether it just makes you think a certain way, maybe, and maybe it doesn't have to buy a cheeseburger today, but maybe it's in 2 weeks. You're like,
Yeah.
The only issue I have with that is like, why are you making me buy a cheeseburger?
hold on just a second
Money.
before I lose
It's
this.
all-
So
it's
he's
all
saying-
money.
money.
All
It's
money.
all
It's all
money.
money.
Regardless
Actually,
of it,
I think it's all money and power driven.
Yes, but power also leads to money in some.
Right.
Yeah,
I
okay,
won't go so
sure.
far as to say they're putting something in the cheeseburgers at that specific time, so they need
So
to peddle a
wait a second,
No.
just
advertisement.
before I
It's
lose
not like
the-
if you call now,
So-
you get.
Right.
He says it bases off of thinking and it makes you think. So as you're starting to think about that, and you're thinking about that subliminal messaging that they put into something, maybe a movie you just watched, or some even like paper article or whatever, it doesn't matter. As you start thinking about that, then they hit you with just the straight up lie or straight up ad promoting something, and you were thinking about that topic, and now you're more influenced because you were already questioning your stance.
Sure.
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So is this Jacob's science blurb?
Yes.
All right. Well,
Says
well,
right.
they're going into psychology of it.
I'm
I was
gonna
gonna
give you.
You want me to time
3
him?
minutes.
You
'cause
should-
I'm
let me
being
time him.
generous.
Let me time the
You
blurb.
should not try to time me.
I'm giving you 3 minutes, and I'm cutting you off.
I'm gonna try. So if you
We're gonna shut off your mic.
3 minutes on the clock.
Okay. Anyways, so like the viewers know, probably from my episode, again, I just took the MCAT, the Medical College's admissions test. Is that what it stands for?
Yeah, you
Doesn't
failed
matter.
It. You failed it. Too.
Doesn't matter.
That's,
Wow.
that's not true. Go ahead.
Not true, but that's fine. So we had a whole section on psychology and sociology.
Cool.
It's the fourth of the test. So within psychology, we actually studied subliminal messaging. Fun fact.
Then you better take your 3 minutes and use them wisely.
I roll. So
Go, go, go!
you're interrupting. Stimuli definition is it's essentially any stimulus input, smell, touch, whatever it is. We're mostly talking about visual because we're talking
Right.
about media stimuli. So the absolute threshold level
Batman
is the
forever.
level that where you can recognize that you're being stimulated with so all subliminal messaging is below this. Okay, so then there's two main theories, and that's kind of the summation of everything we said. So the two main theories are they increase the stimuli to increase the likelihood of doing something. So imagine you have a stepping stone. The subliminal messaging says you want ice cream, and as soon as you think of ice cream, you're gonna get ice cream.
Probability based.
Probability based, so it's gonna get you higher. The second one is they just simply don't want you to recognize it. They want to put these in your head so that
When you do recognize it, you recognize it in that as well.
Kind of,
Right.
yeah. So those are the two main theories there. And then last but not least, research. So this was a research article they had us look over and stuff to understand the concept better. So again, I can't remember the exact one, so I'm leaving it open-based research because I can't cite the source. But this was what from the paper I read. So first off is they said by studying a bunch of people, they sampled a lot of people in this, that overall they concluded that subliminal messaging really doesn't work as effectively as we think it does. But mind you, they're saying it works.
Right.
So mainly
It works.
The first
It
thing,
just works.
It just does. First thing they noticed, it's short-lived. So even though it's effective, it doesn't last as long as people think it does. Because
There's no repetitive mannerisms there.
Right.
correct. So you're
Which
not.
goes into a whole nother topic and a whole other research project.
Music.
but
It
continue.
does because they're not unless they keep watching the ad.
Over and over again.
Then the more you watch the ad, the more you'll get subliminal message, and the more likely you are to do it. So
Ooh,
next.
that,
Wait,
that,
wait,
whoa. The
wait.
more you keep watching the ad, the more you keep watching the TV show.
That I think that's true, and that kind of comes back
Crazy,
to your
right?
point of seeing like an ad for, like you got the subliminal message of
That
a
just proves it
thought.
right there.
a thought. So just a little thought, just
Right.
a little bit of it, and then you see something that is the full thing.
Yep.
You're already thinking about that little bit, even if you don't think about it, even if it's not at the
Right.
front of your
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
You have that in your head, and then that's kind of the where it doesn't die. It doesn't just die out because it's not being
So
repeated. It
I'm
accelerates.
I'm different than most people in that I retain things better if I see them audio, see them audioly, see them visually, and I hear them over and over and over again. I have seen ads like for a whole month, just like the same ad on repeat, and I'll remember that ad like a couple years later when I go back and see it.
877
241
241
Luna.
Luna.
Yeah.
Which
Apparently, I didn't see that ad. but-
What?
Which
No
brings
way.
me to the point. Do you ever realize? Because I'm sure we all have this conversation. You're like, my goodness, we've seen it at 15,000 times.
Mhm.
Why do I keep seeing it? Just say it's commercial on food since we're using food.
Oh,
Right.
oh,
Next
oh.
thing you know, you're out driving around. You're like, wow, I'm hungry. What am I going to go eat?
Right.
They
Right.
Go to this place. It's like,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But you know what Trump's advertisements? I just said Trump. That was not political.
It's a word.
You're using it as an example.
You know what Trump's advertising? Customer service. And Chick-fil-A gives you the
So
It's
Arizona.
It's so good.
If you want something similar to the Arizona half and half iced tea and lemonade, you have to go to Chick-fil-A and check out their new Sun Joy. It is both half tea and half lemonade. Check it out at Chick-fil-A now, and they will give you the nicest
You have
customer
10
service.
seconds to
It
wrap
is
up.
their pleasure.
However, real men order an Arnold Palmer. What are you trying to say? So, 10 seconds to wrap up.
Wrap it up, boys.
So that was the first potential conclusion. They said is short-lived. The second potential conclusion they came up with was it doesn't really work that well unless you've been previously exposed to the stimuli. So if you're trying to get it thought into baby products, like if you're not currently having a baby, then you're not going to be like, oh, I need to go buy a new bottle
Right.
or a new toy for a baby. So the subliminal messaging is targeted
And
for things
how
like that.
much were they paid to
Goodness,
say
man.
that? Wow.
Very close. One more.
You did a very good job.
I thank you.
Good job. And you got
So-
interrupted too.
I thank you.
But
So
you said
I'm getting
one
better.
more. I thought you were. Never mind.
So here's some
I have one more. So then the last potential conclusion is the people that get affected by subliminal messaging are people who are already predisposed to suggestive messaging, which means the people who can easily get hypnotized are the same people who can get worked on,
Your
who
mind
are
has to be
susceptible to
open.
subliminal,
Susceptible, yeah.
open to subliminal messaging.
Manipulated.
So
So you have pretty much, if you don't know where you stand in life and you have no morals or no
Right.
you don't really
Predetermined.
know your opinions, then your subliminal messaging
Right.
is subliminal. I can't even
Subliminal?
Subliminal messaging is going to affect you, and it's going to persuade you to do the things that they want you to
but
do.
not intelligence. That's separate. This is just, are you
Right,
easily
yeah.
persuadable?
You can be extremely intelligent, but just not know exactly where you stand on things.
Nice
All right, so I
Shema.
think we
There
don't
you
even
go.
have to vote. We all agree that subliminal messaging
Oh.
happens, and it happens
does.
quite often.
But I think we
Um,
uncovered a lot of really good stuff
It
about
is.
it.
This was a nice con.
That was,
this was a nice
I
good-
wasn't
that was-
expecting it to go that deep. That's great.
My pleasure.
Aliens!
Aliens!
Aliens and the moon landing.
Okay.
Specifically, was the moon landing fake?
It was fake. It was fake. It was fake. I will stand till by that till the
Hayden,
day I
why?
die.
Go, go.
Go.
Okay. Let me just start with some basic things. The boots. The boots. All right. Number 1. Boot marks on the moon do not match the boots that we have in the museums and the boots that the men were wearing that walked on the moon. That's number 1.
That could be a rebuttal if you disagree with
Okay, well,
You can
continue.
Continue.
Okay. Number 2. In some video footage, we can see the flag was moving after they already placed it down.
I have a rebuttal for that one.
Okay.
it. Okay.
Number 3, Hollywood did not have cameras that shot how the moon landing was shot yet. So,
Oh.
I think I worded that wrong, maybe a little
I
bit.
think I know what you mean, though.
Was
So-
shot.
Yeah, you're saying,
Okay,
you're saying there's no
The
cameras
moon landing
that
was
filmed
shot
like that.
with cinematography technology that Hollywood did not have for 5 years from the
That
footage
point,
of
yeah.
that. So, meaning the government either, 1, had to develop it, and that means it was kind of experimental. So then they took experimental camera technology, shot it up into space, hoping that it wouldn't detach from the side of their...
I have a rebuttal for that, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
continue.
Go ahead.
Continue.
Just as we have a rebuttal doesn't
These
mean
are
it's
great.
valid.
I was gonna say these
Yeah.
are great.
So they shot, then they went, the rocket goes up into space, and the camera, if it was even a pole attached to the side or even a camera attached to the side, excuse me. So you're telling me that it wouldn't be affected by going through the atmosphere and going through all that. Just saying. And then they still shot it and everything else.
Okay.
And then I think I have one more.
One more?
I was telling you about this earlier. What? Did I miss any? I'll probably chime in and say
I,
those are the main
I have
ones.
I
Yeah.
have a very good. I'm gonna stay out of this as much as possible in this one.
Also, we
Although
needed to beat the
al-
Russians
Although I have my own
Take it
opinions,
back.
however,
in the order.
I have a very high
Yes.
very high suspicion. I know how 1, 2, and 3's thinking and what their rebuttals
Alright.
are. So I'm gonna let them attack.
All right, so first
No
one.
rebuttals.
who
I
had the
got
rebuttal?
the first one.
You
Boots.
had the first one. For the
Boots on the moon.
Boots on the moon. A lot of things. That's one that's really. It's very easy to not to say, okay, those boots that are in that museum are not the boots they actually wore.
I would consider that to be more
Like
possible.
there's so many possibilities. One, what year was the moon landing?
69.
Like
Wasn't
okay,
around there. I don't know the exact year, which I should.
not that it's that's a giant achievement. Not that we wouldn't save things from that, but we are so much more kind of I guess sentimental towards big things. So like people take pictures and just, you dump pictures on your phone all the time.
Right.
You don't always save. There are so many props and costumes and things from movies that are so historical that we just threw away because, it was just a movie that they made and they
Yes.
threw away.
lightsaber.
Right? So that kind of, it's so easy to say, well, we were doing a moon exhibit. Let's find some shoes that kind of look like them. Oh, these look perfect. These look almost exactly.
Exactly.
But the
But we
boots-
screwed up the tread, and we have a picture of the tread on
treads,
the moon.
But the treads might not be. We're just gonna put them, and that's probably more likely
Okay, next.
than being different.
Next, you had the second
Here's
one.
my last rebuttal. It's a very simple one.
Wait, let's do this.
Why haven't we been back?
That was
Money.
Obama
one.
cut funding, and whenever he became president, from
So what-
before Obama, we still had funding for space operations. Why haven't we been back?
Also, what was the picture? What are the pictures of the treads?
Okay, so I think that I don't know which one is which, but the treads either on the moon or on the boot was like a ripple, and then another tread, which
Okay.
I don't know which one is which. The other tread was kind of more like a regular boot, and it had
Gotcha.
the heel cut out
How did it?
and a more front.
How did how did we capture the picture of the on the moon?
That's another good question. How
So,
did we, who is the
so
photographer?
if no one was on the moon to take a picture of the treads on the moon,
They were in a studio in Hollywood.
so how do we? So wait, but who who got the treads on the moon? So if they're in a studio in Hollywood, everything is on Earth. So the treads are on Earth. The taking the picture and the boots are all on Earth, meaning there's no difference between it being
right,
on the
exactly.
moon.
Hey, I'm gonna back you up
Okay,
on that
go.
when it's my turn. When it's my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go, I'm good.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
I just screwed my
that's the
argument.
exact
I
point.
don't know.
No. That's just my thought.
Do you want me to go through my whole theory, or did someone have cameras? Did you have cameras?
I have cameras.
Cameras.
Go through the second one that you wanted to rebut, which was the flag.
Okay, this isn't my theory. This is a short one, so that it can come back to me. Flag. So we all know that the flag that they used had a pole in it horizontal, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Everyone's like, "How's it staying up in the air?" Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah, it
it's
was.
an
It
L.
was a cut. Yeah, it was a
Again,
cut out kind of thing.
It is in space. So you're saying after they put it down, it kept waving? How long? Because momentum works. Gravity's not the same in
Yep.
space. There's a lot.
Newton's law of motion.
Why would it
those
be
tend to
waving
stay in motion unless it's on?
if it was
on
a solid pole?
We're
why-
talking about the pole or the flag
The
itself?
thing itself, like it looked pretty like you would
I-
figure
why would
if
it
it
wave
was
at
not
all?
fabric, it was probably one solid thing. So why
it-
would it be waving at all?
Did they use metal? Because remember, we're going to the moon. They tried to reduce weight. I don't know what it's made of. I'm just logicking here. They used a lightweight material and stuff. So after they stab it, like you said, Newton's law of motion, electric motion tends to stay in motion. There's a lot less air resistance and stuff. It's
I was
just
gonna
gonna
say,
take
From
and
what I understand,
shaking it
there's
back
no
and forth.
air. That's the issue.
Exactly,
There's
there's
no
no
air
resistance.
resistance at all. But that's why it shouldn't wave at all. The gravity would pull it down. Look, no, because
No, things still would. So
momentum
in
continues.
space, if you
Momentum-
if you are traveling in space in your spacesuit
Yes.
and you're going this direction, and you have nothing to grab onto,
You're still going that direction.
in order to go back to the direction you have a wrench in your hand, and you throw that wrench.
that way.
That
I'm
way,
aware of this.
you go
We're
this
not
way.
in space. We're on the moon. It has gravity. If a flag was like this,
Right.
outstretched, the flag would fall like this. It would ruffle a little bit, but it would immediately fall and stay right there. Because the only reason that flags do this at all on Earth is because there's an atmosphere that ruffles them just a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I know when you
Yes.
throw a wrench, it's going to
Okay.
continue going.
Random fun fact, because we're
That's
on
not-
that.
that's
If you-
not where we were going with that, but
You're-
fair enough.
Okay.
You're good.
We got where we're going with that.
You're good. if you're sitting in space and you turn on a flashlight very slowly, you're gonna go the other way.
Mhm.
Very fun fact, because the wave duality principle of light. Fun fact.
But to go with
Anyways,
gravity, we'd have to know more of the actual gravitational forces of the moon.
And we're not scientists.
Experts. I had. Are you done?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
just saying.
I had camera. So camera, your argument is that Hollywood didn't have those types of cameras.
So the government had
Right.
to make a development in technology for it, which would have been experimental at the
moon
time.
landing?
What I'm saying is,
Space
if
travel was
Hollywood didn't
experimental.
have them,
Yeah.
then the government would have not had them to. They would have
The
had to be
government-
invented anyway,
The government would have made those cameras,
right?
Yeah.
but absolutely that had to be experimental technology because Hollywood
If that's
hadn't
all they had,
Hollywood hadn't adopted it yet.
right?
Correct.
If, if
So-
that's all
Correct.
that they had, though.
So
then
you're telling me
they'd
that
have
they
no other
risked
option.
the entire footage of the moon
Yes.
with experimental
100%.
technology?
I mean, it was
100%
all risk, wasn't
agree.
it?
It was all
It was all
experimental.
risk, wasn't it?
experimental.
It was all 100% experimental. There was no guarantee they were even going to make it to the moon. It was all
I mean,
experimental.
yeah,
Make
you
the moon alive.
You
let
can,
alone-
right.
you can do as many, you know.
let
you
a
can-
camera.
Right.
And
Try
why?
and
You
figure
said
that out.
you said they put it on a pole on the outside.
Well, who
like-
shot it?
You said first. You said they put it
Who
on.
shot it?
You said they put
First
it on.
man on the moon.
Freeze.
No.
Before you go there, you said first off.
Who shot the
We
first man?
we
on the
can
moon?
yeah. Who shot the first man? not.
The video of the guy landing on the moon is the second man on the moon. That's the thing that people don't realize. The video that everybody sees of the person landing on the moon is the second person on the moon because the first guy had to get out first to film it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's
And
someone getting
attached to the exterior. They did
That's
the
where I
cameras
was
on the
going.
exterior.
No, I don't think the camera was attached to the exterior
Right, it
of,
wasn't.
of the ship.
No.
Going to who would have done that? Let's put our most expensive piece of technology on the outside and hope that it doesn't burn up.
Well,
it was definitely inside of the capsule.
I agree that you could have taken, once they landed, taken the camera, the first guy comes out and attaches it so it doesn't go anywhere.
But we didn't see that footage.
But
and
they
it was
weren't
a
gonna-
live
they didn't-
stream from space, was it
But-
not?
This is a good argument, by the way. I love this.
Live streams can still be
Caught it.
edited though, live. I mean, they were doing that even back then.
Yeah.
Our live
Yeah, there's a
studio
lot of-
audience is intruding again. But
No, it's just a
Um,
paperclip. You're throwing
There it
things at
is.
the screen. Anyway,
they're aiming at me now.
but
They're
okay,
aiming at
so
you.
you had cameras, yes.
They keep giving me the.
I'm the
time
one. I'm the
signal.
one that kicked them out. And they just want to go get dinner. Which anyway, but and then what was the last thing that you had said?
Okay.
This is just I have a middle ground theory, which
Why
is my
haven't we
summary.
been back?
They
Okay.
can all, you can all disprove that, and you guys are probably a little bit more valid than me, but
Shocker.
the question
I'm
still
gonna start throwing
stands:
back at them.
Yeah, yeah.
why haven't we been back?
That's a good question.
And why didn't the Russians make it up there? Because their rockets there
No
for a
funding
while.
till Space Force.
Huh?
There was no funding till Space Force.
There
all
was
about money.
funding.
It's all about money.
There was
It's
funding.
It's all about money. Everything comes back to money.
but-
Needs to come back to money.
You're sorry. Don't want to interrupt.
we should have went back by now.
You have a
Yes,
good
That's
point,
what I'm
though.
We
getting.
should have.
We
So
should have.
have we
Like
now?
1969, right? That's when it was.
Mm-hmm.
1969, we landed on the moon. We haven't been back
Are
since.
we going to get to Mars before we get back to the moon?
I don't know.
So I have a middle ground theory because I'm not on either side, and I still want to look more into this. But Aiden has some really good points, to my opinion, and the other side has some really good points. So here's my theory: that yes, we did land on the moon. Okay, we have enough evidence from NASA and data-wise that we landed on the moon, and we know enough about stuff. We had the technology. Second, the footage is probably fake.
That's
At least most of it.
That's
I can
there
see
could
that.
That could
there
possibly
could
lie.
be some shots, like the picture of the Earth and stuff, could holistically be real.
and that honestly backs up the
Uh-huh.
boots.
Bear with
because-
me. Bear with me. Keep going.
Yeah, okay,
Because
yeah,
the
got it.
boots. And the reason that we have the fake footage is because we found something we didn't like up there. Like, the boots were not from us. Russia beat us. Or another world power. China, Russia. Someone got up there first. And we were like,
Or
crap, there's
there
another
was
flag.
something else there wasn't up there from Earth that we didn't
Oh.
want to see.
I'm just saying. I think the Russia one's the best option for that.
Wait.
Because
Maybe they saw the Earth was flat. We didn't want the shots.
Oh yeah,
Great
100%.
segue.
Okay,
But
before
first-
we go to
first
that,
off, we got-
real
we
fast.
have to vote though.
We had to vote.
Oh, we
well,
have to
wait a
vote.
minute, real fast.
Did we land on the moon?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Land on
Yes.
the
We
moon.
100%
Yes.
landed on the moon.
We went around the moon. Maybe we were.
We
on-
did
went
land on the
around-
moon. Fair enough.
Okay, we
Okay.
landed on the moon. Wait, footage fake. We had to vote on that too. Is at least part of the
I
footage
think
fake.
at least part of the footage is fake. All right.
So if we landed on the moon, here's where I stand. We went up to the moon. We landed. They got off. And guess what they saw? The USSR flag sitting right there. The biggest middle finger to America that you could give. Saying, we won the Cold War, but you know what? Let's end this. You guys can win. You take your footage and... All right.
Part of the footage, at least part of the footage fake.
and
Fair enough. 3, 2,
possible.
1, possible.
Especially
It's
right,
possible.
And then the
Especially-
Russians said, since... Ooh.
Nope.
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 We're
Guys,
done.
we didn't-
We're done.
The part that was fake was the part where the Earth was round in that footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna open with this one.
Okay.
Please, go.
I've been in a plane, and I can see the curve of the Earth.
I mean, just yes.
Cheers
100%.
to that.
My issue with this, and I'm like, look, I believe some crazy stuff.
Have you ever seen
I'm-
Jack Sparrow?
I believe some crazy stuff. Okay, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and call every flat earther crazy. However,
Right.
I think they just don't understand
You conservative.
how big, how big,
I was drinking.
how big the Earth itself
You
is.
old bigoted
Because they'll say,
conservative.
why couldn't we see it from like there's that place like the Salt Plains where there's a huge area. You still would not be able to see the curve of the Earth
no.
because of how massive the Earth actually is.
Exactly.
And that really is the only valid argument we need to hear on this topic.
Honestly,
We can move on.
to prove that
I gotta-
that
Conservatives
The
think the
idea-
Earth is
I wanna
flat,
ask-
and there are a bunch
Here's
of
my
idiots
thing.
for
Keep
it.
going.
Here's my thing.
Keep going.
Some people will say, "Oh, all the NASA photos, all the stuff from space is fake." Okay, you have a telescope. You can literally look into the sky,
And see
see that
around
the
us.
Earth is round, the sun is round,
No, no,
all the other
everything
planets
else
are
is
the,
round
the
and
moon
are
is round. Have you ever seen the solar system? Have you ever seen? You got everything.
Now wait a
flat,
minute, wait a
you got
minute.
Isn't it
every- wait,
crazy?
wait,
Maybe they're
got
going to claim that
everything,
it's not
got
a box
everything.
a box flat, but it's a circle that's flat.
Have you ever seen?
That is
There
the
is a
theory.
plate.
Have
There's
you
a plate
guys-
theory.
That
Have
is
you
the
guys
plate
ever
theory.
seen the clip? It's some documentary of them trying to prove that the Earth is flat, and he's like, okay, they have this hole and they have this camera, and there's a light, and he's like, all right, if he holds it at 50, this hole's like 15, I think, feet high or something like that. If he holds the light at 15 feet high, if the Earth is flat, you can't. That they would prove the Earth is flat.
Right,
But
you'd
if
be
he
able to
holds
see
it,
the light.
but if he holds it at 17 feet high, and you can see the light through the hole, that means that the Earth has a curve to it. And he holds it up and he says, "All right, where are we? We're at 15 feet. I can't see the light. All right, hold it up to 17 feet, and he shines the light,
you can see it.
and he's like, well." The guy's just done. He's just like,
It's just to me, it's amazing how literally every planet and heavenly body in our solar system ends up being round except ours.
Also, where's the ice wall? I want to find, like, how have we not gone
How have we
to
honestly
the ice
not
wall
gone to the
that
ice
is around the
wall?
Earth?
Yeah.
That's how all the water is kept in. Have you not heard this? This is how all the water is kept in, is the ice wall.
ice wall.
The ice, no, it is. It's an ice wall around
It's
the
a
Earth.
thing. It's a thing.
How have we not gotten to that ice
How
wall?
do we
It's the
go-
Bermuda Triangle. Let's circle it back around.
How do we go around the
I know.
Okay,
Yeah, gotcha.
okay.
No, I
Right.
want to reference it.
Wait.
But
How do we go around the Earth in a plane if the Earth is flat?
well, that's the thing. That all the pilots in the world are in on it.
Oh snap!
You go.
Oh,
to,
man,
they
they got-
brainwash
oh,
you
wow.
in flight school.
Subliminal messaging.
Well, I've also heard that like it's almost like a dimensional thing. Like there's an infinite, like the Earth is basically infinite both ways. So whenever you cross,
Like Minecraft.
right? So whenever
You just keep going.
that's why it's flat.
you just keep going, and basically when you travel, like if you would fly from America to China, back to America, going the same direction, you would actually end up in basically like a clone version
Oh my
of
gosh.
the same.
What the
What
heck?
if this is the Mandela
And it would just
effect?
all be the exact same thing.
Isn't that the Mandela effect? Same thing.
No,
Kind of.
Mandela effect's
Are-
just shifting through
Are
dimensions.
you like
but-
struggling to logic that?
I am struggling to logic that.
Same. So
Stupid conservatives.
I'm gonna give some rapid fire points because we're not gonna talk about them. We're just gonna fly over.
Go.
So first off, there's a documentary on Netflix. We can reference, right? We just can't.
we
play.
can reference, we can't show.
Behind the Curve. It was a documentary from 2018, so it's still new on Netflix. It's put on by flat earthers, which is the best part. And at the about 45-minute mark ish, they give an experiment and they talk about how they were going to prove the Earth is flat. And they said they created this little machine that measured using laser technology and stuff. So it's a more accurate compass and timekeeper. So it's a laser clock thing. I don't know the science behind it. But they put it in a capsule to make sure it wasn't affected by gravity and all this crazy stuff. They said, if we do this, there's like a 15-degree tilt or whatever if the Earth is round, and there should be a 0-degree tilt if it's flat, right? So they sent it, they measured it, they waited the Earth went all the way around in full rotation stuff. They measured it, and the clock said 15 degrees.
Exactly.
So they said, we just think we messed up somewhere.
Right.
Even though they
Shocker,
spent
shocker.
thousands of
Like I
dollars.
They're just dumb, bigoted
Someone
consumers.
donated it. It was
the
crazy.
Earth is not a perfect little round circle.
No,
No, it's
15
like
degree
a-
tilt.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Nature.
It's not a perfect little round circle.
It's nature.
but it is not flat.
It's an
Right.
ellipsoid or some sphingoloid. It's a weird shape.
It baffles me how many people just don't understand gravity, which I can't say I understand gravity, but I can say that
We don't understand gravity
that I
because
don't. But I understand the concept.
Newton's
of
law of
gravity.
gravity is false.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyway,
To an extent.
so-
to an extent.
Anyway.
To an extent.
But
Not completely
to
false.
Sum,
but
just to sum up, when you have a compass,
Right.
how do you explain how a compass works if there's no magnetic pole?
Right.
How do you explain how an eclipse works when you see the,
Right.
the ball?
I think we've
moving
proved our
across the
case here,
shadow?
guys.
Who thinks
Let's
the
vote.
Earth-
In conclusion,
wait,
let's
wait,
vote.
close off. Who thinks the Earth is round? Raise your hand. Who thinks it's flat?
Dumb. Conservative.
Raise your hand if you think it's triangle.
It's the Bermuda Triangle.
It's the Bermuda Triangle. Flashback from last episode. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. This is our season finale of the subject matter. We will be we will be back at the beginning of July with new episodes, new guests, because we obviously need new ones. Maybe a couple. I'm
Ouch.
just kidding.
He looked at me.
You'll all be back at some point next season, I'm sure. And let us know. We'll do a poll on Instagram as to which of these theories you think are true, and we'll have some fun with that. So
And
thank
leave us
you all
new
for-
ones.
And
leave
a
us
one-
new ones. Leave us
1
new
to 10.
topics.
Put like Aiden, and 1 to 10, how stupid is his moon landing theory?
It's not.
10 is
it has
stupid
a
and
lot
you're,
of
you're
holes.
totally wrong.
It has a lot of holes.
One
you have to fill up.
is
The fact that
it's
the
possible.
movement has gained enough traction to be talking about this proves that you're not
Crazy.
completely insane.
Okay.
Look at flat Earth.
Fair enough.
Just saying. Love you,
Anyway,
flat
we'll
Earthers.
see you
Next-
guys
next
next time.
Later.